Hi guys, good evening. This is Ray Perosa once again. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Provinciano Accountant. This episode we will be talking about cash basis and accrual basis of accounting. So ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng cash and accrual basis? So kung cash. Kumbaga, nagre-record ka lang ng transaction kung merong involved na cash. Kung wala, then no journal entry shall be made. So let's take a look the difference between cash and accrual basis of accounting. So under cash, it recognizes transactions only when revenue is received. So kung kailan lang na-receive yung revenue, there you can record the transactions. On the other hand, under accrual basis, it recognizes the revenue transactions when earned regardless when received. So kung talagang meron na kayong rights doon sa naibenta nyo, kung meron na kayong rights doon sa account, then you have to recognize the revenue regardless kung kailan nyo siya na natanggap. So in cash basis also, it recognizes transactions only when expense is paid. So kung kailan lang tayo nagbayad, saka lang tayo mag-recognize ng expense account. On the other hand, accrual, it recognizes expense transactions when incurred regardless when paid. So kahit hindi pa nabayaran yung mga utang, yung mga expenses natin, i-record natin, ilalagay natin yung transactions sa journal natin. Ibubook natin yung transactions on the expense kahit hindi pa siya nabayaran. So while dun sa cash basis, kung hindi pa siya nabayaran, wala tayong i-recognize sa libro. So punta tayo sa example. Let's say example. Sample number 1, January 10, 2020, ABC sold merchandise on account for 100,000. So, what do you think? What do you think is the journal entry under cash basis? Sold ko na merchandise on account, meaning inautang mo yung binenta mong merchandise for 100,000 pesos. So, under cash basis, our entry would be 0 or no journal entry will be made. Wala tayong i-entry na transaction under cash basis. On the other hand, for accrual basis, our entry would be accounts receivable debit of 100,000 pesos, credit sales of 100,000 pesos. So again, kung walang cash involved under cash basis, wala tayong i-recognize na transaction. On the other hand, kahit may cash or wala, meron tayong i-recognize na transaction. So sa transaction na ito, dahil nagpautang ka, so under accrual basis, we have to recognize receivable, accounts receivable of 100,000 pesos, and we will record also the corresponding sales credit side of 100,000 pesos. Next example is, what if we sold merchandise in cash for 100,000 pesos? So under cash basis, so dahil may cash involved na, we have to recognize debit cash of 100,000 pesos and credit sales of 100,000 pesos. So what do you think is that the journal entry under accrual basis? Pareho lang yung entry nila. So, kung cash basis and then accrual basis, kung there is involved in cash, actual cash, then almost halos pareho lang yung entry nila. So, debit cash of 100,000 pesos, sales of 100,000 pesos. So, let's go for another example. On March 15, 2020, ABC collected the sales on account made on January 10, 2020. So ngayon, nagpautang tayo nung nakaraang buwan. So ngayon ay kolekta na natin. So ang entry natin under cash basis, we will now record cash of 100,000 and credit sales of 100,000 pesos. So under accrual naman, mayroon na tayong i-recognize pa rin. So dahil meron tayong na-recognize na receivable, from this time we have to what? We have to credit naman the accounts receivable. So ang debit natin is cash, credit accounts receivable para mawala yung accounts receivable natin na i-debit noong January 10, 2020. So next transaction, example, on May 31, 2020, ABC received electric bill and paid 10th day of the following month 10,000 pesos. So naka-receive tayo, si ABC naka-receive ng May 31 na bill, electric bill, 10,000 at sinabi na on the 10th day of the following month, saka lang binayaran yung electricity. That was June 10 na, no? So yung under cash basis natin, wala tayong entry dahil nga no cash involved in that certain transaction. On the other hand, under accrual basis, we will to recognize electricity expense of 10,000 dahil nga sabi natin, under accrual basis, expense is recognized regardless when it is or it was paid. So our credit would be a liability account, accrued electricity expense of 10,000 pesos. So accrued account is a liability account, or a liability account. Accrued electricity expense is a liability account. So next problem example, on June 10, 2020, ABC paid its electric bill. So under cash basis, we will now record electricity expense of 10,000 and credit cash of 10,000. Under accrual basis naman, we have to recognize what? Tatanggalin na natin yung accrued electricity expense of 10,000 and we will credit cash of 10,000 pesos. So itong accrued na to from the previous month binayaran, so nawala na siya. Next problem, on July 1, 2020, ABC paid insurance for 60,000 pesos, good for 1 year. So nagbayad daw si ABC ng insurance on July 1, 2020, good for 1 year. So yung 60,000 ika-cover siya for last 6 months of the 2020 and then 6 months in 2021. So under cash basis, so ano po yung entry natin? Cash basis. Recognize natin yung insurance expense of 60,000 pesos and credit cash of 60,000 pesos. Under accrual basis, we have to record anong account? We have to record prepaid insurance expense of 60,000 and credit cash of 60,000 pesos. So under accrual basis, gagamit tayo ng prepayments account. So kung yung mga prepayments account, ito yung mga account na in-advance mo or ito yung mga transactions na in-advance mo. Ito ay isang asset account. Prepaid insurance or prepayments is an asset account. Kumbaga, dahil hindi pa naman talaga siya totally expense as of July 1, so we have to recognize prepaid account. That is prepaid insurance expense of 60,000 pesos, credit cash of 60,000 pesos. Next problem, on December 15, 2020, ABC earned interest income from its borrower to be collected 15th day of the following year, 5,000 pesos. So, as of December 15, 2020, si ABC naka-earn siya ng interest income from its borrower, pero yung receivable na yun is to be collected the following month or 15th day of the following month. So, under cash basis, dahil wala pa namang cash involved dyan. So, the entry is wala. No journal entry to be recognized under cash basis for the interest earned of 5,000 pesos not to be collected 15th day of the following month or year. Pero under accrual basis, our entry would be, we have to recognize interest receivable of 5,000. Dahil nga meron ka ng rights doon sa income na yon, so you have to recognize interest receivable. Dahil hindi mo pa naman na makolekta, hindi mo pa nakolekta yung 5,000 pesos, then you have to recognize a receivable account of 5,000 pesos and credit interest income of 5,000 pesos. Another example is on December 20, 2020, ABC received advances from customers 15,000 pesos. So, December 20 daw, naka-receive sa ABC ng advances from customers 50,000. So, parang bibili si customer, pero yung goods ay hindi pa na-deliver sa customer. So, ano ba yung entry natin under cash basis? So, yung entry natin under cash basis would be cash of 15,000, credit sales of 15,000 pesos. Pero under sa accrual basis, sabi natin doon na we only recognize revenue when earned. Diba? So, under accrual basis, we only recognize revenue when earned, regardless kung na-receive. So, dito, na-receive nga natin, pero hindi naman siya earned. Kumbaga, wala ka pang goods na ibinigay sa customer, so therefore, hindi pa siya earned. Wala ka pang rights over doon sa na-receive mo. So, ang i-recognize natin is what? Ano yung debit? Debit natin, cash, syempre cash of 15,000, this should be 15,000, typo, and then your credit would be advances from customer of 15,000 pesos. So, dapat magre-recognize tayo ng accounts payable. This advances from customer is a payable. Not accounts payable, but it is a payable account or a liability account. So, advances from customers is a liability account wherein the company should recognize in its books dahil nga na-receive naman niya na yung cash pero wala pa siyang naibigay na goods or service doon sa customer. So, therefore, dapat hindi income or sales yung i-recognize niya kundi isang liability account which is advances from customer of 15,000 pesos. So guys, I hope you learned something about cash and accrual basis. Kumbaga, when it comes to recognizing transactions, if the company is using cash basis, any transactions na wala namang cash involved, ay wala ka talagang i-recognize sa libro, or there could be no journal entry to be made in your books of account. Pero if in case you are using accrual basis, regardless kung kailan revenue, kahit example sa revenue, regardless kung kailan siya na-receive, basta na-earned na, you have to recognize the revenue accounts. On the other hand, if the expense under accrual basis, if the expense is incurred, regardless kung kailan siya nabayaran, then you have to recognize an expense account. So, I hope that this session is clear sa atin. You can comment on this video if you have some clarification or you have some topics na gusto nyong itakal. I am here to just present to you the principles, some also the theories and problems that I can impart to you guys. So I hope you learned something on this video. Thank you.